Lieutenant Governor, can you hear us there in Vegas?
Loud and clear.
You're loud and clear too.
All right.
Good morning. Justin, are you okay?
Yeah. Is that a leading question?
What have you heard?
You look like you were in deep thought there. All right, if we're ready, we'll go ahead and proceed. Looks like it's the bewitching hour. I'll call to order the Transportation Board of Directors meeting scheduled for today, September 9th, 2024 at 09:30. And we'll call the roll. Ms. Larkin.
Good morning. Governor Joe Lombardo,
Present.
Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony,
Here.
Controller Andy Matthews,
Here.
Member Virginia Valentine,
Here.
Member Frank Lepre,
Here.
Member Justin Culp,
Here.
and Member Gary Perea.
Here.
Governor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We will move on to agenda item number 2, first opportunity for public comment. Public comment may be provided in person or by calling 775-888-7440. The call will be placed in a queue and the caller will be notified of their turn for comment. The first public comment is limited to comments on items on the agenda. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. And I will impose a 3-minute time limit. Do we have any public comment there in Las Vegas?
None at this time, Governor.
Do we have any here in Carson City?
No, sir.
Nothing online or on the phone?
Not for the first.
Okay. We'll close public comment and move on to agenda item number 3 and receive the director's report, informational only item. Ms. Larkin.
Okay, good morning. So we're going to start off basically giving an update on the 2024 traffic fatalities. We are not really headed in a good direction. We have about a 7% increase in overall fatal crashes compared to last year at this time. The majority do occur in Clark County. That's also obviously where the largest top population base is. Speed and impairment remain the largest contributing factors, but also pedestrian and motorcycle crashes have also increased. So our main focus areas to address this are really intersection safety, looking for particularly the vulnerable road users, and we're also doing a strong focus on increasing passing lanes projects. Next slide, we also want to say we're actually saying goodbye to our summer public service interns. This has been a very successful program over many decades. We bring in anywhere from 43 and up public service interns. These are basically college students that come in. They work at the end of the semester to the beginning of the semester over the summer. We have them all over the state. Actually, the minimum qualifications is graduation from high school, and you have to be enrolled in college in order to participate. We take them all across the board. We do engineering, environmental engineering, design. We also take them in traffic. We take them in planning. We take them in accounting. We take them in business areas. We pay competitively in this area and have, but again, we've had many senior and executive leadership positions filled by people who started as summer interns. Next, we had the Tahoe Summit where Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg came out with a really focusing on connecting Tahoe, investing in transit trails and technology for the future. This is an annual event that really focuses on basically the transportation environmental stewardship throughout completely around the lake. And it's bipartisan, so we have both Nevada and California representatives there. And we also, on the next slide, we want to recognize many of our partner successes. So in Southern Nevada, with the RTC of Southern Nevada, they did a groundbreaking for the Maryland Park bus transportation. So it was again, Pete Buttigieg attended. and many members of the Nevada's federal delegation. This was also, it's a $378 million investment along the Maryland Parkway. So again, kudos to RTC of Southern Nevada and working on the partnership with them. And on the next slide, we move up to Northern Nevada, where we did, again, Pete Buttigieg also attended, but this is the Arlington Bridge groundbreaking. This will replace two structurally deficient bridges, which were built nearly a century ago, and actually have the worst structural rating of any bridges in Washoe County, which means they were still structurally sufficient. They're not ready to break, but it is time to replace them. They'll be spanning the Truckee River in Reno's downtown River Rock district and will feature flood mitigation measures and improved bicycle and pedestrian connectivity. And then next, our favorite topic of the day is Nevada Shared Radio System, the P23 upgrade project.
25.
Thank you. P25 upgrade project. And we were really here to, we wanted to highlight the fact that the District 1, and you can see up on the map, District 1, 2, and 3 roughly follow our 3 district that we have in Nevada, but they also expand a little bit in surrounding states into Utah and also into California on the side for coverage in there. But in the District 1 area is fully up and running, and it's fully up and running with no blips. It's working well. So we want to applaud all of those who are working on that and for their achievement. District 1 and all the vehicle install efforts are complete, and the District 3 installs are currently underway. The other user agencies continue to be scheduled upon demand and are 85% complete based on the 2018 counts. For BLM, 9 of the 12 site lease applications were approved in the last 12 months. Nevada State Lands, there's 1 site pending approval for construction. High Sierra Communications, there are 5 site lease amendments pending, and we have 2 other site lease amendments pending approval. So again, as we mentioned, in Region 1, it was on the air as of July 11th, 2024. The burn-in testing phase successfully completed with no major system issues, with the formal regional acceptance on September 3rd, 2024. And then the EDAX, which is the old system, is scheduled for turn down on November 19th. So there's a little bit of a transition period. And then you also notice on the regional progress the District 2, Region 2, the northwest corner, basically Washoe County, there's underway is 21 of 44 where sites completed, and then the total sites on that includes 11 of 28 of NDOT sites. In the Region 3, the Northeast Nevada, the 6 of 35 total sites are commissioned, including 6 of 31 NDOT sites. Do you have any more questions on this for now?
So are we going to be able to support the EDAX through 2027?
So will you come up to the mic? This is Jake Grivetz. He is the manager for NDOT covering this project.
Good morning, Governor. Members of the board, Jake Rivette, NDOT Traffic Operations for the record. If required, EDAX could be supported throughout 2027. Our intent is to turn down the channels with a decommissioning effort following approximately 12 months after turn down to enable our using agencies the opportunity to come on board if they choose to do so.
So we won't be fully interoperable until 2027?
Negative. Because we have an EDAX migration gateway on board the new system, anybody that is currently on EDAX has full capability today. And as we migrate over to P25, any late joiners still have the opportunity to speak to using agencies or other divisions within their department that have already cut over to P25.
So maybe I'm confused on the technology, Jake, but how is EDAX talking to a digital system?
So EDAX is actually a digital system. EDAX stands for Enhanced Digital Access, sir. So we have what is known as an EDAX migration gateway, which is a bridge between the old system and the new. And all of the EDAX traffic gets pushed through that migration gateway to enable communications with P25.
Governor, we do plan on this came up, I actually should have probably done a full in-depth report on the radio system prior to announcing that we had this District 3 done. I recognize that Virginia Valentine was the only board member here when we actually approved the project. So we will have an in-depth presentation at the October board meeting to start literally from the history, go through it, and get everyone on the board up to speed.
Okay.
Any other questions, Governor?
No, I'll meet with you after.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Lost,
Go ahead.
communication. We,
Lieutenant Governor, we cannot hear you. You're breaking up. Hey, Jake, can you come back up in case he has a question for you?
They lost the video. It's supposed to be on.
They're broken down there.
What was that?
Got a text saying they're broken down there. While we wait, hopefully they get their connection back, I would like to add on the progress report that we have entered into negotiations with the Utah Communications Authority to join our two new systems together to enable cross-border communications. This will enhance comms along the Nevada eastern border and in the Arizona corridor on I-15 to enable public safety, law enforcement, EMS providers to be able to talk to their neighbors on either side of the border. We've already provisioned one circuit going to the Reno core, and Utah is provisioning a circuit to the Las Vegas core. Each representative will be responsible for maintaining those links, and it will ensure access almost the entirety of the north-south eastern border of the state.
Mark is my technician down there.
There you go. You can use this laptop, sir. You hear us?
Yes.
We got you.
Yeah, you might get. Okay, you can use that for now.
can you hear us?
Yes, we hear you clear.
Okay, we're back up on a laptop down here, so we can hear you and we can see the presentation.
Did you have a question, Lieutenant Governor?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Thank you, Jake.
All right, thank you, Jake. Next slide, please. Also, this month, through August redistribution, we received $73.8 million in additional federal obligation limitation. This happens every year. Basically, the best way to describe it is like the federal government says that we have $100 million we can spend, but then says we can only spend 80 million of it. And if we spend that $80 million of it, and every other state doesn't spend the amount allotted to them, they redistribute the remaining funds. And then we have always been very successful in obtaining additional federal obligation limit. So while it's not new money, it is additional federal funds that we can put on our projects here in Nevada. And they will be dispersed in several projects throughout the state. So some in the North Valley, some in the south, and some in rural areas. Next slide. And we also are here, we just finished a bridge replacement in Lovelock. It was G29. It is originally constructed in 1931. It goes over the railroad tracks. It's an off-system bridge that's kind of on a little bit of the northeast area of Lovelock, north of I-80. Anyway, brand new bridge, and My God, I was working on this 25 years ago, so this is just a good day. Next slide. On the I-15 Tropicana, just some updates. This week overnight, northbound I-15 was closed from Russell to Tropicana for bridge deck pouring. And then we have another closure scheduled for tonight for southbound I-15 from Flamingo Road to Russell Road. This will be from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. and this is for bridge deck pouring. So it's still on track for being done next year. Next slide, please. The I-15 South widening project. We have a few new traffic restrictions for the I-15 South. And this is, the crews have been constructing sound walls near the St. Rose and Blue Diamond ramps, as well as overnight paving. And then we will begin nightly, Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. closures. And then that is from August 18th to September 20th. And this will affect the southbound I-15 will be reduced to one lane between I-215 and Silverado Ranch Boulevard. And the far right lane shoulder will remain closed 24 hours a day for paving equipment. But then we'll be moving quickly through this. We're trying to get this completed before we start working on the Bright Line. Then the US 395.
Director,
Yes.
before you move on, can we go back to the Tropicana, for the record, Governor Lombardo, the I-15 Tropicana update? I can't remember whether last year, was there any issue or redesign for movement, ingress, egress for F1?
There was, we only had the one structure that was completed. The southern structure was not. Could not be used because there was a differential in elevation. We did a little bit of extra paving, kind of throwaway paving so they could get off in the T-Mobile
Right, I remember.
arena.
So are we doing anything for this year? No?
We will be probably doing pretty much the same but enhanced. Last year ended up going off without a hitch when the actual F1 came in. So this year there'll actually be a little additional freedom of movement. I don't know the actual final configuration, but you'll have both bridges going back and forth.
Scott, were you gonna say something?
So for the record, Sajid Solaria, Assistant Deputy Director. We are in coordination with F1 monthly meetings as far as.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are in communications with them, and to answer your question, it's going pretty smoothly, so.
So you say.
Well, with luck, we went through most of the hiccups last year, so this year should be a lot smoother. And it will be the last year that will be there. So the North Valleys, please. We're making progress here. The northbound outside lanes are constructed, and we have shifted northbound drivers to travel on the newly constructed outside lanes. We have also reopened the northbound US 395 PAR ramps. But now we will also start now that the PAR ramps are open, we will begin construction of a new braided ramp to bring the northbound US 395 ramp to Golden Valley over the existing Panther Valley ramp. And braiding the Golden Valley off-ramp over the Panther Valley on-ramp will lengthen the Golden Valley off-ramp by approximately 2,000 feet. And this new ramp should also reduce backups on the northbound freeway. We are also closing the northbound US 395 off-ramp and North Virginia Street on-ramp to northbound US 395 in Panther Valley. It's good to have a map up there. The ramp will be closed 24/7 through summer of next year as we construct the new braided ramp. And then a nearby detour will be available via Golden Valley Road. This is the first phase, just a reminder, this is the first phase of the improvements. And then there'll be additional projects once this project is complete. On the Carlin Tunnel, the lighting upgrades. This is the I-80 Carlin one, so they're up in the Elko region. In 2014, we installed an adaptive lighting system. It automatically dims and brightens lighting to match outside lighting. This makes it easier for drivers' eyes to adjust while traveling the tunnel and makes it safer to drive through the tunnel. Crash data shows that once that lighting was installed, that crashes in the tunnel dropped 50%. So we're just upgrading the lighting luminaires and the lighting control components. And so drivers will see alternating lane closers through the tunnels in future months with one direction of travel detoured through Carlin Canyon as the upgrades are made. You know, these things get kind of fascinating, and when you watch, there's special equipment to go in that actually cleans. It's like a funny little crane with a brush on the end that goes down and cleans the tunnels and the lights. It's kind of fun to see the equipment, since we'll talk about equipment in a while, but it's fun to see the way it actually operates. Then we now have a couple of awards to put in. So on the Transportation Systems Management and Operations Award, we are the 2024 TISMO Award winner. And this is about enhancing existing transportation with collaborative multimodal strategies. We wanted to leverage limited resources and preserve and enhance transportation capacity, security, safety, and reliability. And we received a TISMO Award in Agency Improvement. We recently received it for our TISMO Staffing and Workforce Development Plan from the National Operations Center of Excellence. So our TISMO partnerships and plan were recognized for teamwork, combining our vision with local expertise to create a plan that is already making a significant impact in the industry and helping serve the transportation system management. So congratulations to our TISMO division. I'm sorry, Lieutenant Governor, did you have a question or a comment?
No, you just cut in and out for a couple of seconds there, but I can hear you again now.
Okay. On the next slide, we also want to recognize, I took a picture this morning, it's a little shady. I'm talking about the picture, not me. But the FHWA 2024 Environmental Excellence Award, and this was for really the reduction of wildlife and vehicle collision and connecting the habitat, basically wildlife crossings. So congratulations to our environmental team. We had someone here to receive it, but she is out today. So Nova Simpson, who was the one working on this, and she is not available today. But congratulations to our environmental team. And then our last slide is we are working on, or have been working on, I should say the environmental division, again, Nova Simpson. We're working on the historic monarch butterfly candidate conversation agreement. Basically what this does, they've been working on it for about 5 years, and we take care of, within our right-of-way, we take care of providing the right kind of vegetation and stuff to provide the food for the monarch butterfly on there. And by working ahead of time, so they play a crucial role as pollinators, and they're vital to the health of our ecosystem. And as we undertake highway construction and infrastructure improvements, that we're preserving their natural habitat by working ahead of time. We're working it so that we can continue working on our maintenance and construction areas, preserve the habitat, and kind of keep them moving forward. So if they do become, I'm sorry, I can't think of the right word. If they do become endangered, then we're still moving forward, and we've got the documentations in place to help mitigate that impact. And I very poorly stated that, but any questions on that one?
Well, we gotta have a question. Lieutenant Governor, you have a question about the monarch butterfly?
I do not. Everything looks like it's in good shape.
There you go.
It really does, though, show the diversity.
The right away, the right spot to sit in.
It does show the
We
diversity.
can hear you, by the way.
You want to?
It does show the diversity of what NDOT does need to take care of.
Absolutely.
So that concludes. I'm glad you all have a sense of humor.
Oh, I think it's pretty cool. So,
That
Is that it?
concludes.
all right,
the
do
report.
any directors have any questions of Ms. Larkin? In the director's report?
Member Valentine, I also think that's very cool. So butterflies are climbing in the seniors. I think that's great. We're putting money into the projects because that is where they will be noticed.
Hey, Virginia, you're gonna have to get next to the microphone.
You can talk into the
Oh,
computer.
yes, microphone. Thank you, Governor. I just said I think that's terrific. There's been decline in monarch butterflies over the years, and the fact that NDOT is planting milkweed where the monarchs can lay their eggs and eat the leaves, I think is terrific. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And just so you know, that mic is always open, so be careful. All right, if there's no questions of the director, we'll close agenda item. It's informational item only and move to agenda item number 4, consideration of approval of the August 12th, 2024 Nevada Department of Transportation Board of Directors meeting minutes for possible action. Do any directors have any concerns or deletions or omissions to identify?
Governor, this is Member Calb. I need to abstain. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Copy. If there's no concerns, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion approved?
Member Lepery,
Yes.
did you make the motion?
I did.
There you go. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Cyrus Anthony, second.
We have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we'll move now on to section 2, the consent agenda, with the
Governor?
omission or the removal of item number 5. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Thank
So
you.
let the record reflect that item number 5 will be removed, and we will take under consideration item number 6. Ms. Larkin. Do any of the members have any questions on item number 6? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval as is the consent agenda.
This is Gary Purry. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exclusion of item number 5.
And do we have a second?
Cyrus Anthony, second.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any against, nay? I don't know if I heard every aye. Any against, nay? Hearing none, motion passes. We will move on to agenda item number 7, consideration of approval of legislature approved fiscal year 2024 vehicle replacement and procurement of vehicles.
All right, Governor, I will be making this presentation in place of Jay Pullen, who cannot be here today. Also, though, in the audience, I want to recognize Wayne Miller. He's our Equipment Division Superintendent. So he'll be here to answer any particular questions, particularly if you start asking about classes of different types of equipment.
Where's Wayne?
Right there.
Oh, there you are.
All right, so basically in the packet today, you have our request for the list of equipment that we want to replace and pay for. Anything over $50,000 does come to the board for approval. And you have a complete listing in there, but to go kind of through our measurements. So the performance measure for that, we have, NDOT fleet has 2,790 units. This is licensed units. We still have some other trailers and stuff that are not licensed, but these are all of our licensed units. And of that, just under 1,500 meet the criteria for replacement. So over 50% of our fleet is eligible to be replaced. Replacement criteria is age and/or miles or hours used. And I want to say that we make sure that we meet both the criteria. We don't do a and/or. When it meets age, and then also miles and hours, and we also look at the condition of the vehicle. This is not one of my highest things to brag about, but we are ranked number 49th in the nation for the condition of our fleet. The majority, we do have the oldest fleet in the nation. So
So if we approve this today, what will our ranking be?
We'll still be at 49, but we'll be inching up closer to 48. But a lot of that'll be actually in the next legislative session when it goes in. I want to put that over the years, when we had the recession in 2008, we basically had no budget. We had no equipment to budget for about 4 to 5 years, from I think 2008 to 2012. Then we started coming back in, and our budget at that time was 5 million. Prior to that, our budget prior to 2008 was about $10 million a year. So then it was 5 million for a few years. So the last 2 years, we had $20 million in our budget, and you will see that request again in this our upcoming budget request. That is helping considerably, really looking at our older vehicles, and bringing them up to getting them moving along. So, if the list is approved, okay, it changes to 48.28% of replacement that meet the criteria, so basically it increases that part. But even with that, it's still, even with the FY25 replacement, the critical equipment, the equipment meeting criteria will increase to 68%. Now, you have to also take into consideration when you look at it, the light fleet versus the heavy fleet kind of age at different parts based on use. So sometimes when you're looking at the percentage of criteria, if we replaced a lot of the light fleet, it could change it differently than if we replaced some of the heavier fleet, because the heavier fleet is several $100,000 each, so it just takes more to do it. So if you look on the next slide, you can see over the years of looking at 2020, we were at 49%, and then in 2023, it went up to 55% and 52%. So a lot of that has to do, like I said, as I mentioned before, we're kind of catching up from the years that we had no budget. And then we replaced a considerable amount of light fleet last year. Now this year, we will be looking at replacement of a lot of the heavier fleet. And Wayne is here to correct me if I state anything wrong. On the next slide, I'm just kind of showing, this is just representative, the types. So a class 11 is miscellaneous trucks, diesel powered. A class 13 is a tandem axle dump truck. Basically, we order by the classes, and we wanted to make sure if you weren't familiar that you had an idea of what we were going for. On the next slide, so like for NDOT dump trucks, we have 327 dump trucks. 200 of those meet replacement criteria. In our proposed equipment purchase, we are replacing 9. And that brings basically the needs replacement down to 58%. Next slide, loaders. And what you're usually seeing in most of this is an existing one and a new one that would be coming in. So we have 148 loaders in our fleet, 78 meets replacement, so 53%, we're replacing 3. And then the NDOT street sweeper, we have 73 of these, meeting replacement is 62, 85%, we're placing 6. This really is a very critical one, but they're almost $600,000 each. So that's a big part of the budget. This is critical for the non-attainment areas, Washoe and Clark, so for air quality and water quality around Lake Tahoe. It's the same type of mitigation, but they're PM10 compliant, and they don't have a very long lifespan. Really, they only go about 7 years. It's 6-7 years for replacement. We end up using them longer, but usually when we get new ones, we move them in the critical areas and we move the sweepers out and the other sweepers out into non-attainment areas. The next one is the 1-ton trucks. These are 1-ton dump trucks. We have 105 of those, specifically the dump trucks there. These are some of our workhorses. This is really kind of your everyday going around workhorse going there. Some of them we have crew cabs where we also be able to transport crew around to different areas, particularly for trash pickup and other things in the median. So on the next slide, where does the old equipment go? Well, it goes to state purchasing for disposal, and they sell excess vehicles and equipment through local auctions. I think, Frank, you're familiar with these. And then the proceeds of the auction sales revert to the highway fund, but we also want to be clear, they don't go back for new equipment, they just revert to the highway fund. And on this last slide is a summary. This is the full summary of the list of everything that we will be purchasing, and you do have that in your packet. And I would trust the packet more than I would trust the slide. Although we've checked both a couple times. That concludes this. Do you have any questions on what we are purchasing? So we're requesting approval to purchase the list that as listed in your board packet.
I have a couple questions. Is it Wayne?
Just identify yourself.
Wayne
Hello,
Miller, for the
I'm-
record, Equipment Superintendent.
Hi, I'm Board Member Lepre. Just a question, what is the criteria like for a small dump truck? What, is it mileage, age, or how do you do that? Or is it maintenance cost?
It can be all three of those. For like for the 1-ton dump truck, like
Yeah,
the,
if you want-
like
can you
the
pull
Ford.
it up, the picture you showed.
So, I don't have that page. I don't have that page. It's still in my packet. I thought I grabbed what I needed. So for the 1-ton dump truck, the replacement criteria for that is depending on when we buy them. We changed the criteria in 2003 when the trucks became more reliable. And so for the ones bought before 2003, the replacement criteria was 150,000 miles or 96 months. We changed that to 200,000 miles and 144 months. So we'll keep those for either 12 years or the 250,000 the 200,000 miles. And then that's when we'll dispose of them. Now, if we find some because of condition, if it will meet one or the other, but the condition is such that we're spending more money than would be feasibly responsible, then we'll replace that piece of equipment based on condition. But it's one or the other. Usually it's both of those criterias.
Okay, and then do you keep maintenance on your vehicles too? So,
Yes.
I mean, what's the threshold on a truck like that on maintenance when you say it's too old?
As far as like cost, I don't have that with me here at this time, but we can certainly make that available.
Yeah, because the 1-ton's not too bad to replace, but you start replacing loaders and blades and things like that. What's your criteria on a blade?
So I actually jotted down some notes because I was anticipating maybe a couple of questions. So for the motor graders,
Yeah.
we did the same thing before and after 2003. It's 17 years old. We're before 2003. Those bought after 2003, it's 25 years. And we have 24 in the fleet that are newer, that were purchased before or after 2003. We have 27, there's 24 that are, I don't have that. I've got 27 of them meet replacement criteria of the 51 in the fleet. We have 51 motor graders in the fleet. 27 of those meet replacement criteria based on the age, and 25 of those are older than 2003.
How many hours do you guys, on average, do you put on your blades?
On average, on a year,
Yeah.
it's not very many. The replacement criteria is 5,000 hours. And so you can imagine over 25 years, you know, it takes a while to get 5,000 hours.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh,
The one thing I also wanted to add is that, and you will see it in there, for each class of vehicle, they will show the cost for leasing, the cost for rental, and the cost for purchasing, so over the life cycle of it.
I don't know if that was directed to me, but for me,
It was general.
yeah, we run a lot of older equipment, and it's just hard for me to agree on $18 million equipment when where NDOT is today. I think you have equipment that needs to be replaced. I don't know if you have $18 million to have to be replaced this year.
So for the record, Wayne Miller, Equipment Superintendent. You know, most of our, what we'd really like to see is the replacement of the plow trucks. You know, they work in the worst conditions. You know, usually when it snows and the conditions are really bad, everybody sits but us. So we're not fair weather operators, and our equipment gets really run really rough. Part of the issue is, you know, we can say that maybe NDOT's not taking care of the equipment as well as we could. You know, and we have addressed quite a few of those issues. Some of them stem from requirements from environmental agencies who have shut down some of our wash racks because they're not upgraded. And so washing the equipment off is really difficult. I can give you, like on our plow trucks.
Wayne, I
Yes.
don't mean to cut you off, but I totally agree with you on your plow trucks.
Okay.
You have to have them running because you got cold conditions, you got freezing weather, you need them for life and life safety. Totally get that. It's the other things that are on this list. I think you got to have a want list and a needs list. I think I got the want list, not the needs list. So if you got a needs list, I'm all for you.
Okay.
Actually, I would respectfully disagree. There's been so many, and I can't get into real deep into the point, but equipment is basically our tools and on there, but there's so much that has gone in there, and I think Wayne has been excellent at really starting to screen out what is really needed. There isn't wants on this.
We're only asking for 3 motor graders out of the 27 that meet the criteria. I mean, we tried, I mean, if you give me 50 million, sure, we would replace a whole lot of stuff that we probably could get away with keeping for a longer time, but we're still trying to catch up from not having any money at all for several years and then only be having 5 million and then 7.5 million. And it doesn't go very far with the inflation and in the cost of equipment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other director questions? So, for the record, Governor Lombardo, when you sell these pieces of equipment, does that money revert to the general fund or does it come back to NDOT?
It does revert back to the highway fund. It doesn't revert back to equipment, it just reverts to the highway fund in general. And it's state purchasing auctions them off.
Okay. All right, if there's no further questions, this is an action item. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Yeah, this is Stavros Anthony. I'll make a motion to approve the legislature approved fiscal year 2024 vehicle replacement and procurement of vehicles and non-rental equipment in accordance with NRS 408.389.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Virginia Valentine.
All right.
Did you hear that?
I heard it. All right, for all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Nay?
Nay.
So it's not it's a majority, right? All right, motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 8, consideration to approve the 2025 annual work program and acceptance of the 25 through 28 statewide transportation improvement program, also known as STIP, for possible action.
Son,
Governor, apparently the Lieutenant Governor read the agenda properly, but the title misstates the year. It should be the 2025 work program. So just for clarity, maybe we should,
You want another vote?
yeah,
It says 2024.
yes, according to Ms. Denny.
Hold on a second. So what should say 2025?
It should,
Fiscal year 2025.
so it would be, number 7, in that very first line, it should say fiscal year 2025 instead of 2024. On item number 7 that you read, I believe, into the record, sir, it should say fiscal year 2025. So there's a typographical error in the agenda. But if your motion, if you would remake your motion and call out fiscal year 2025, I think that'll make the record clear.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay. So do we need to make a motion to rescind the other motion or just make another motion?
Just amend your motion, and I think we can disregard the first vote.
Okay, so I will amend my, initial motion, to include that the fiscal year is 2025, as part of that motion. So that will be my amended motion.
Member Valentine, I second.
All right, we have a motion on the table, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any against, nay?
Nay?
All right, motion passes. And for the record, the nay was Director Lepre. And we'll move on to agenda item number 8, consideration to approve the 2025 annual work program and acceptance of the 2025 through 20 statewide transportation improvement program, also known as STIP, for possible action. Ms. Larkin.
All right, Sandra Rosenberg, our Deputy Director for Planning and Administration, will cover this item.
Actually, Rebecca's covering this.
All right, Rebecca, our Assistant Director of Planning, will cover this motion.
Thank you. Good morning. Last month, we presented to the board as an informational item the 2025 annual work program and the 2025 through 28 federal fiscal year statewide improvement program known as the STIP. This month, we're back and we are requesting the board's action to approve the 2025 annual work program and accept the 2025-28 STIP. Approval of the annual work program satisfies the requirements of the NRS to present to the governor by October 1st of each year a detailed program of projects planned to be delivered by the department for the upcoming year. In contrast to that, the STIP is adopted every other year, and it satisfies federal requirements for a 4-year program of projects that demonstrates financial constraint and includes all federally funded and regionally significant projects throughout the state. Both programs are developed utilizing our data-driven, performance-based approach outlined in the One Nevada Plan, and it allows for both qualitative and quantitative data to measure areas' needs throughout the state, and it helps us make informed decisions based on the needs that we have. The annual work program and STIP did go out for a 30-day public comment period, which ended on September 5th of this year, 2024. We received no public comments. I do want to note that we posted the notification for the public comment on the department's website, our social media, and a press release went out to all of our media partners through our public information office. Please note that the annual work program will have a reduction in the architectural program in your packet as it was a result of a budgetary adjustment that occurred after the documentation went out for public comment. Therefore, the 2025 budget for architectural will be $25 million once it's adjusted. Again, we're asking for consideration of a motion to approve the 2025 annual work program and accept the 2025-28 STIP. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do we have any director questions on the STIP? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Yeah, this is Stavros Anthony. I will move to approve agenda item 8, the 2025 annual work program, acceptance of the 2025 through 2028 statewide transportation improvement program.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Andy Matthews.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
It's Andy.
I'm Controller Matthews for the second. All right, we have a motion
Yeah.
for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any against, nay? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 9, contracts, agreements, and settlements / judgments. Informational only item. Ms. Larkin.
This is just a list of what I have signed over the past month. Is there any questions?
Any questions from any directors on agenda item number 9? All right, hearing none, we will move on. So, Ms. Story, help ensure that I'm doing this appropriately, but we are going to adjourn today's meeting, correct? Temporarily, and then we will reconvene subsequent agenda item number 10.
Okay, so we will now hold a public hearing on the potential removal of an NDOT regulation, and I'm going to hand this over to Sandra Rosenberg, our Deputy Director for Planning and Administration.
Thank you, Director. Can we pull up the slides? Okay. Pursuant to Governor Lombardo's executive order number 2023-003 to reduce regulations, the Nevada Department of Transportation is proposing to remove an existing regulation from the Nevada Administrative Code, Chapter 48. NAC 408, NAC 408.796, number 2, currently allows NDOT to establish a fee reflecting market value for business signs for attractions when 6 or more attractions apply to be displayed in a specific area. This provision has never been utilized, so therefore it's no longer necessary, as the current process effectively manages the demand for business signage without the need for additional fees. This removal is considered business friendly and really just unnecessary, has not been utilized, as I mentioned. With the proposed removal, if 6 or more attractions apply to be displayed on a sign, it will revert back to the Section 1, which applies to other businesses as well, which basically determines which ones are placed on a sign based on location to that sign. So it shows here on the slide the portion we are proposing to remove. Our notice for this public hearing was done in accordance with the Nevada's Administrative Rulemaking Procedural Guide. We did have a public workshop held on Thursday, June 13th, in person and online. A few public participants joined virtually, including a representative of the Association of General Contractors. There was one question that was answered, which really had to do with any potential revenue loss, which there is not. As I mentioned, the provision has not been utilized. So all public questions were answered satisfactorily. A report on the public workshop was submitted to the Nevada Legislative Council Bureau on June 26th, and on July 17th, they approved the hearing, which allows us to move forward with this hearing today, as well as changes to that regulation. Public notices have been properly posted at various NDOT locations on NDOT's website and on the state notice website for more than the 30-day requirement. And the public has been informed of the opportunity to comment in person, via phone, or through online form. We do have program managers available if there are any questions. And with that, I will turn it back to Tracy for any public comment and to adopt the regulation.
Well, first, are there any questions? Okay.
Do I need to ask Vegas?
This was really more for the board, if there was any questions.
Any questions from any directors? Hearing none.
Okay. Were there any other written submittals?
We did not receive any written public comments.
And there was a call-in so now it's a call-in. Is there any public comments at this time? Now for Vegas. Is there any public comment in Vegas?
Don't see any.
Any here in Northern Nevada? I don't see any. Having considered information from our public workshop and public hearing, I hereby adopt this Nevada Department of Transportation regulation change, and this will now be submitted to the Legislative Council Bureau for final review.
Does it go
Governor,
to the
that
council
concludes it.
bureau or the commission? Do you know the story?
I believe it's the
LCB.
LCB.
I think it goes to the commission
That's
after the
fine, right?
LCB. Well, either way, as long as it
Senior Deputy
proceeds.
Attorney General Shane Chesney is marshaling this effort, and so he will get with the staff to ensure it goes to the right place.
Well, that concludes the public hearing. So if we can reconvene?
Yes, you may now reconvene as the Board of Transportation.
All right, we will adjourn. Agenda item number 10, and then at this point, we will reconvene as Transportation Board of Directors. Date being the same, September 9th, 2024, and the time being approximately 10, 18, 19 hours. And we will reconvene with agenda item number 11, the executive session. Do we have any items for the executive session?
We do not.
All right, bear with me. All right, we will close agenda item number 11, move to agenda item number 12, the second opportunity for public comment. Do we have any public comment there in Las Vegas?
We do not.
Do we have any here in
Good morning, Governor.
Carson?
Good morning,
Good morning.
trustees. I didn't imagine when I prepared this presentation that the Davis Creek fire would make this so much urgent and self-evident. At the time I prepared this comment, it was not even happening. It shows in real time how important it is that we keep our access roads open and don't reduce them to road diets. It also shows the need for Northern Nevada for more air support for firefighting. I listened to the news this morning driving here, and we are nationwide at a level 5, which means the resources are very, very much committed. And I've looked at a lot of videos over the weekend, and their air support could be much improved. So I'm presenting to you today, not something I did, but it's something that TahoeCleanAir.org, Doug Flaherty from Incline prepared a simulation of the evacuation emergency plan for Lake Tahoe. None of the agency wanted to do it, so this private person went ahead with his firefighter friends and prepared it. This is the first of a series of 3 or 4. It's North Lake Tahoe, Douglas County, East Shore, and South Lake Tahoe will follow. So I will submit this for the record, and I would really appreciate you reading it. It's written very well, and it gives an impression that is scary, given we have a major fire threatening Reno. It shows how Incline and Tahoe City, as well as Kings Beach, would be taken up to 13 hours to evacuate, given the current roads. And they look through all the different scenarios. If one of the roads closed, if 2 of the roads are closed, and they go through all of this. And I also sent you a link on the webpage so you can look at it on your computer. It's a very impressive work, and it should be taken to heart and acknowledged by anything you do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Any other public comment here from Carson? Do you have anybody online or on the phone? No? We will close the second opportunity for public comment and move for adjournment for possible action. So I'll make a motion for adjournment. Do I have a second?
Second, Cyrus Anthony.
Thank you, Styros. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Hey, Tracy.